Welcome to Monday Morning Moments. I'm Mike Van Hoozer. Today, we're continuing the series of talking about the 5 keys to a championship mindset. Last week, we talked about playing from a place of acceptance instead of for acceptance. And one of the things we talked about is not tying your identity to your performance and not tying your identity to what you do. Your purpose is much broader than that. And also that your performance is much broader than your identity, and it's not tied up into how you perform on a certain day, but your identity is tied into who you are and what you're capable of doing, and the preparation and belief and trust that you have in yourself, and also that others have in you, and that most importantly, that God has in you as well. Today, as we continue that series, I want to talk about the second key to building a championship mindset, and that's focusing on what you can control. We often tell our athletes, focus on what you can control. You've probably heard that from a coach if you're an athlete, or a business leader as well who's guiding your team, and they talk about focusing on what you can control. And a lot of times people talk about energy, effort, attitude, communication, and those are all things that we can focus on, and those are things within our sphere of control and influence. And it's so important that we do that, because a lot of times I see people getting distracted by things that they can't control. The referee's call, somebody else's attitude, what the competition is doing, what the weather's like, the circumstances of the game. And those are things we can't control, but we can influence those if we focus on what we can control. And there are 2 axioms that we use in working with our athletes related to focusing on what you can control. And I want to share those with you today and help you apply those this week. And the first one is, what you choose to focus on magnifies in size. What you choose to focus on magnifies in size. And every word in there is very important, because we have a choice. It's not what you focus on magnifies in size. It's what you choose to focus on that magnifies in size. And when we know we have a choice about what we focus on, we can direct our mind and our attention to those things that we can focus on. When we choose to focus on distractions, and I use this all the time with my golfers, the golf course designers get you to focus on the distractions, the sand, the trees, the water, and they design those in interesting places on the hole. And when we focus on the sand, or we focus on the water, that becomes bigger and bigger in our minds. And when we focus on our target, though, that can become bigger and bigger in our minds. It doesn't guarantee success, but puts our mindset in a better position to have success. And so we can't magnify those distractions in our lives and the things that we can't control. We can choose to focus on the right things, and those will magnify in our mind. The goal, the process to get to the goal, those are all things that we can choose to focus on that will help us and put us in a better position to have success. The second axiom is, every action begins with a thought. And so when I'm working with an athlete, or even a business leader, or anybody in any aspect of life, we talk about this a lot, that every action begins with a thought. What are you thinking about before you step up to the free throw line? What are you thinking about before you take a penalty kick in soccer? What are you thinking about when you're getting ready to take a serve, or getting ready to set up to return a serve? That's so important in all aspects of life, that every action begins with a thought. And we have to audit the things that we're thinking about before we take on some action. For a business leader, it might be, what are you thinking about before entering a client meeting or doing a presentation? We need to audit our thoughts and make sure that we're thinking positive and productive thoughts, and not negative thoughts that are actually bringing us down in our performance. So for this week, I want you to think about, how can you focus on what you can control? Yes, your energy, your effort, your attitude. Focus on those things. Effective communication with the people who matter most in your life and the team that you're leading. But make sure that you choose to focus on the right things, that they get magnified in your mind. And before you take action this week, that you're thinking about positive and productive thoughts that will guide you to your best performance. And as always, make the most of the moments in your life.